Our nation was founded on a principle encapsulated in the first three and most important words of our Constitution: we the people. Our founders wanted to have a nation that didn't work for the benefit of the powerful and the privileged, but for decisions of the people, by the people, and for the people, as President Lincoln so eloquently described our nation. Not a nation by and for the powerful, not a nation by and for the privileged, but by and for the people. Tomorrow, a bill is coming to the floor that couldn't be more of a by and for the powerful bill than we have seen on the floor of the Senate before. A bill completely contrary to the fundamental values embedded in our Constitution. Now, this bill is a budget bill, and at its heart, it says we're going to do $5 trillion of tax cuts, almost completely for the richest Americans, and we're going to do so by gutting programs that make America work for working Americans. Now, the president said, when it comes to tax reform, I want to help the middle class. I'm not going to do anything for the rich and powerful. Then why, I ask you, is this bill coming to the floor of the Senate completely for the rich and powerful? President Trump, come before the American people, explain how you can make a promise that you're going to do tax reform for the middle class, and you put a bill on the floor of the Senate that is all about benefits, raiding the national treasury for the rich and powerful. How do you explain this complete opposite? What a complete pretense we have to say that this bill is about helping American workers when it's all about the rich and powerful. The Republican budget plan not only has $5+ trillion, virtually all in tax giveaways, a raid on the national treasury for the rich and powerful, but it proceeds to cut health care for older Americans. A cut of $1 trillion in Medicaid for working Americans. Now, that's a whole lot of damage done to ordinary Americans who just want peace of mind that when their loved one gets sick, when their loved one gets injured, they'll get the care they need. Is peace of mind too much to ask from our national health care system? Are my colleagues so callous, so out of touch, so cruel that they want to fund tax cuts for the richest Americans by destroying health care, diminishing health care for our seniors? And not just our seniors, but our citizens on Medicaid. In Oregon, that's the Oregon Health Plan. It serves the poorest among us, many of them working part-time jobs that have no health care plan, many of them working shifts that are determined at the last second. Some of the most stressful jobs in America are at the very bottom. Some of the most stressful work schedules are at the very bottom. And we're going to cut not just $1 trillion from Medicaid and $500 billion from Medicare. Wow. And then let's look at the other programs that would be devastated by this Republican budget in order to fund that $5 trillion in tax cuts, almost all for the wealthiest Americans. The Senate Budget Committee Democratic staff said if those cuts in the Republican budget are extended evenly, distributed reductions, it would have the following impact. It would eliminate housing assistance for more than 1 million families. It would eliminate heating assistance for nearly 700,000 seniors on fixed incomes. It would eliminate nutrition assistance by more than $100 billion, a 33% cut. In other words, translate that, a lot more hunger in an already hungry America. It would slash Pell Grant funding by more than $100 billion eliminate Head Start services for 25,000 children in an average year, cut mandatory transportation funding by $200 billion, cut funding for the National Institutes of Health by $37 billion, all to give a massive tax giveaway to the richest Americans. Now, if the president is proceeding to say that this is a plan for the middle class, then you would expect virtually all the benefit to go to the middle class. But what do we actually have? 4 out of $5 of benefits go to the top 1%. And half of that, 40%, goes to the top 1/10 of 1%. Why should there be one single penny going to the very richest Americans in a nation in which we should be striving for a foundation for every family to thrive? And we know that to thrive, our children have to have food to eat. We need to have health care programs that create peace of mind. We need to make sure our seniors have a strong foundation in their retirement. But instead, we see all those programs, including the opportunity for college through Pell Grants, being rated for this massive giveaway to the top 1%. President Trump, come before the American people and explain how it's possible that you can claim you're doing a plan for middle-class America and you're sending virtually the entire benefit to the top 1% of Americans. This budget resolution, the associated tax plan, it's one of the most egregious examples of rigging the system of America for the powerful and privileged rather than government of, by, and for the people. Well, I'm here today to stand up and say, not one penny to the top 1%. If you want a fair plan for America, it'd be not one penny to the top 1%. If you want a plan that strengthens the middle class, there would be not one penny to the top 1%. Not one penny for billionaires while we gut Medicare and Medicaid. Not one penny for billionaires when middle-class families' taxes would go up under this plan. Not one penny for our billionaires while we destroy programs and safety nets and opportunities for education, from Head Start to Pell Grants to attend college. We could do a great deal of good to invest in America. We could invest in transportation. We have an incredible number of bridges and roads that need repairs. We can put an incredible number of people to work building middle-class jobs and middle-class incomes through building infrastructure, instead of a giveaway of the national treasury to the top 1%. By investing more than $1 trillion, we can create millions of good-paying American jobs. More than 56,000 bridges in America. 1 out of 11 is structurally deficient. Engineers estimate we could easily spend $123 billion on repairing bridges and $420 billion modernizing highways, and that we get a return back to our economy with lower vehicle maintenance, decreased delays, lowered fuel consumption, improved safety, lower long-term maintenance costs, and lower emissions, all benefits of investing in transportation, in addition to the fact that it strengthens our economy. We can think about the investment we need to have in our water infrastructure, the water supply systems, and certainly the wastewater treatment, a problem in virtually every town across America. What about all those lead pipes that need to be replaced? 2,000 years ago, the Romans were poisoned by their own water because they lined their aqueducts with lead. And here we are, 20 centuries later, poisoning our citizens with lead pipes. Why aren't we spending money to take care of that problem? And it's not just a problem in Flint, it's a problem in hundreds of cities across this country. And if we want America to thrive, Why not invest in rural broadband? Why not create high-speed broadband in every rural town and village across this nation that strengthens that economy, that gives people the ability to build their businesses in small-town rural America, instead of spending trillions of dollars in tax giveaways to the very richest Americans? How about an investment in our students? Not decreasing Pell Grants, strengthening Pell Grants to make it possible for more people to attend college without ending up with a debt the size of a home mortgage. It's a real possibility to create debt-free college at our public universities. Why don't we do that? That will strengthen the foundation for every family to thrive. Good jobs, good education, good infrastructure. Not the theft from the American Treasury of $4 to $5 trillion for the very richest Americans. That's what's being proposed here. Has there ever been a train robbery as audacious as this theft of the national treasury for the richest Americans? Has there ever been a bank robbery as audacious and outrageous as this theft of the American treasury for the richest 1% of Americans? Here on the floor, we should be wrestling with how to create a foundation for every family in America to thrive, not considering a bill that wipes out health care, wipes out Pell Grants, does damage to every conceivable thing that would make this nation stronger in order to give the billionaires more zeros in their bank accounts. This bill is destructive, it's shameful, and is contrary to the very principle of our Constitution of government of, by, and for the people. This bill is government of, by, and for the 1%. It must not stand. Thank you.